everyone, and welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Lagos. We begin by telling you about a sad incident which happened today in Imo State, where the chieftain of the All Progressives Congress APC and former aide to President Goodluck Jonathan, Mr. Ahmed Goodluck, has been killed by gunmen on Umueze Obiango along Sam Mbakwe Airport Road in Ingo Okpala local government area of Imo State. According to the police, Mr. Goodluck left his hotel room to catch a flight when he was attacked on his way by 6 gunmen who shot and killed him. The police explains that Mr. Goodluck left for the airport without informing the police or other security agencies to provide escort given the fragile security situation in the state. He says the police has started investigation into the matter as tactical and special forces have been deployed to cordon the area and arrest the perpetrators. Part of our conversation tonight is the security situation in the southeast region of the country. But before we get into that, we'll begin by taking a look at what has happened in the last 6 years. It was 2 years ago that President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC-led government renewed their mandate after winning the presidential election in 2019. 2 years into a second term and 6 years of being at the helm of affairs, how has President Buhari and his team fared? The presidency has already listed some of the performance, and tonight we'll be discussing the promises made to Nigerians and what has been done. Tonight, I'm being joined on the program by the president's spokesperson, Mr. Garba Shehu, who joins us virtually from Kano. Thank you so much, Mr. Shehu, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you for this opportunity.
So let's begin the conversation. One of the 3 major pillars on which the President Buhari administration came on was said that they wanted to do security, fight corruption, and of course the economy. And when he took office in 2015, the security situation in the Northeast particularly was horrifying. But today, Mr. Shehu, 6 years after taking over as president of Nigeria, would you say Nigeria is a safer place to live in?
I will tell you that the security challenges have mutated. They have changed from what they were in 2015. When President Muhammadu Buhari came at that time, the biggest challenge was the Boko Haram.
Fine now.
Boko Haram had set up a republic within the Nigerian Republic. A sovereign country of their own with a flag and system of administration that had been established over about 14 local council areas in Borno and Yobe states. That has been smashed as we speak today. It's no longer there. New challenges have come and they are being confronted as they unfold. Societies are dynamic, crime is dynamic. When they change, administrations in their attitude and their approach will change. And what we are seeing today is that the Boko Haram that we knew has virtually disappeared and has merged into a bigger threat. The ISWA that is funded and financed from remnants of Libyan army and from alliances that have been formed in faraway countries, including Iraq and Libya, including funding. And this is a challenge not only to Nigeria, Lake Chad Basin, but to the entire Sub-Sahara Sahel regions. And all of West Africa is tackling this together.
Well, I mean, understandably so. Some of the things that you have listed, Nigerians are experiencing them. We know what is happening around the region. We know what is happening in the world. We know how some of these terrorist elements have mutated into what they are today. But the big question is what the president and his team promised Nigerians and what they are getting today. In simple terms, can you say, perhaps, repeating that same question, would you say that Nigeria is a safer place to live in today compared to when President Buhari took over the helm of affairs?
As far as Boko Haram terrorism is concerned, Nigeria is a safer place today than it was in 2015 when he took power. New challenges have come up. Farmers, herders, clashes, killings in the central sections of the country. Much of this has been subdued. We have been confronted with problems of sabotage of oil installations in the south. That has been managed effectively up to this point. Challenges of banditry and the kidnapping have arisen in so many parts of the country, including the southwest. Today, southwest is perhaps the safest part of this country. The challenges have epicentered around the Kebbi, parts of Kebbi, parts of Sokoto, Zamfara, Mele, Katsina, and Kaduna states. Much of it have been Kaduna has been rid of it. Much of it has been rid of it. The Katsina is a lot safer today, certainly, than it was a year or two back. Zamfara is dealing with the problem in so many ways, kinetic, non-kinetic. The point is that the problems as they arise are being confronted head-on by a competent administration served by a military that is loyal, police that is loyal, and intelligence agencies that are efficient.
If you say that Kaduna is safer today, this is a Kaduna that the reports of kidnapping. Thank God, some of those who were kidnapped at that university were just about 15 of them just regained their freedom yesterday. And when you say it is safer, for those who are living there, they will be wondering what exactly you mean by that. But Nigeria is facing.
Well, let us look. If we are doing a geo mapping of criminality in Kaduna, southern Kaduna is still hot, is still on fire. But if you are talking about the major incidents you have been seeing on Abuja Kaduna Expressway, that have gone down significantly. Birnin Gwari, much of it has gone down as well. So Kaduna is chaptered into departments that you can analyze. I am not in any way saying that southern Kaduna is safe or there are no problems there. There are incidents still ongoing, and we are hoping that when communities come together, when they talk to each other, when they learn from neighboring states such as Plateau, which has dealt with many of these problems, I'm sure that all these attacks in the name of revenge, for the most part, by either of the parties would certainly be also brought down.
Nigeria is facing perhaps one of the most troubling moments in its history, security-wise. Many have canvassed for more funding for the military, but in the last few years, Mr. Shehu, 75 billion, for example, was appropriated and released in 2019. An additional funds appropriated from the service-wide vote was also released 100%. The sum of 2.5 billion was released that year. In 2020, 75 billion was appropriated, but 74.99 billion was released. In 2021, 100 billion has been appropriated and 19.4 billion released for the fourth quarter. Another 19.95 billion was recently released for the second quarter. If you look at it, how do you explain the disbursement and efforts in the face of the incidents that we've seen and the kind of military hardware that are available to the military to fight and prosecute this war? And I'm asking this, Mr. Shehu, because this government told Nigerians the millions of naira meant for the military were stolen before it got into office. Nigerians would like to know, if you will, to explain to us, please, what has been done with the much that I've listed that has gone out to the military in terms of the security that they are getting and what has gone into procurement of hardware and prosecution of some of these insecurity situations?
The military chiefs have been doing a lot of talking in the National Assembly, but I will cite a few examples for you. This country is about receiving delivery of 12 Super Tucano aircraft, which are most suitable for fighting the kind of insurgency that we have in parts of the country. Beyond that, we also have got about 12. Some have been delivered attack helicopters from Russia. Some are still in the line of delivery. When President Buhari came, this country didn't have an air force that had more than 5 or so aircraft. He bought 26 brand new aircraft as we speak now, and about 12 are on the way being delivered. The Nigerian Navy has bought so many, at least 400 new platforms, including about 170 boats that are there for attack boats. So the military has been acquiring a lot of hardware. A lot of them are still to come. We have recently that in a major procurement involving the United Arab Emirates, the army had some challenges which needed to be resolved diplomatically, and we believe that they are in the process of doing this. So a lot of equipment are being bought, and the money is not quite unlike what you had in the past. You can't do those kind of games under President Muhammadu Buhari. You will be dealt with. There's no question about this.
I asked that question again because the much that has been put in, the monies that have been put in, there seems to be a lot of expectation because we have a president who is a retired military general. So a lot of expectations were there from a lot of Nigerians in 2015 and in fact 2019 that this man is capable of quenching some of these insecurity situation. But it does look like my first question perhaps has not been properly answered. Is Nigeria safer today than it was 2015?
So I'm sorry, I'm not being accusatory. I think you are looking for a line for the digital media that they will go away with, and then the clicks will follow. The point is that everyone who lived in this country in 2015 knew the existing problems in the country at that time. Bombings in our major cities. The United Nations was bombed. Police headquarters was bombed in Abuja. No place of worship was safe in much of northern Nigeria. And Boko Haram was threatening to go to the south. All of these things are behind us today. Boko Haram is on the fringes of Lake Chad now. That's what we are talking about. But I am saying to you that we accept that new challenges have arisen. And these new challenges are being confronted with given resources that are available. As we speak today, the executive and legislative arms of government are working on a major funding scheme that will see the release of huge amounts of money for the armed services to procure a lot more platforms. Training is going on over this weekend. 6,700 or so fighters were discharged from training. So all of these shortcomings that had grieved the nation are being attended to. And I can assure you that the seriousness that these things have been tackled, we will also put behind us these incidents that are worrisome to us, the killings, the banditry, and the kidnappings. These two will go away.
I opened the program with the sad story of the death of the APC chieftain Ahmed Golak, and someone who have appeared on this program a few times, a former aide to former President Goodluck Jonathan. And you hear what the police are saying in the situation of things there. What's the reaction of the presidency on that?
The president has expressed outrage and sadness over this incident. We have issued a statement on the matter, and he has asked that special detectives from the police headquarters be sent to undertake investigation. Imo has a new police commissioner, very competent, and his reputation has preceded his arrival in Imo. They will get to the root of the problem. A lot of theories are being peddled We are not interested in all of that. Criminality has been committed, and the country has sadly lost one of its finest politicians. But the perpetrators of this act will not escape justice. They will be found and they will be tried and convicted.
Let me take you, I would have loved to ask you about the issue of the police, but because the government of the day had promised that there will be more recruitment, but in terms of the ratio to citizen based on the United Nations standard, I mean, you look at it, Nigeria has less than 400,000 police officers, and in a population of about 200 million people, there were promises to employ more people into the force. What is happening on that? Where are we on that? When are we expecting to see more police officers to police Nigeria?
If you are talking about the governments that have straddled the country in the Fourth Republic, 1999 to date, President Buhari has employed more hands for the police than perhaps all of those governments put together. So, but that is not to say we have got sufficient numbers that we need. Don't forget that this country has to live within means, within its own means. And when the police affairs minister goes to the National Assembly seeking money to hire more people, is confronted by demands from justice, from military, from education, and the health. And everyone is dipping their hands into the same basket. So it's a big challenge. We as much as the president wants to do this, he had done 10,000 again, and we are hoping there will be a lot more. But the important thing also you recognize is that there's the innovation that has been introduced of the community policing scheme that is involving about 50,000 Nigerians based in their own local communities that will be owned by them, and then they'll be directing them as to law and order functions in those communities. We're hoping that this will choke crime at the roots of society.
Let me take you away from security and take you to issues relating to the welfare of Nigerians and issues relating to the economy. Let me show you this graphic that we've tried to put together here on Channels Television. This piece of graphic will give us a comparison about the state of the economy of Nigeria before President Buhari came into office and what we are getting now. These are some of the economic indicators in comparison from 2015 and now. If you look at it, the exchange rate, for example, inflation rate, and to the debt profile, what do you have to say to those figures? They don't look favorable, are they? For example, let me ask specifically now. For those, when the president promised about the stabilization of the Naira, it has spiraled now. And you look at it, where it is presently, the exchange rate, it was $1 to 197 Naira in 2015, but it's $1 to 410 Naira. And perhaps it was ranked as one of the worst performing in 2016 rather. What do you have to say to this, Mr. Shehu?
Well, I'm not an expert in economics, and I hope that one of these days we get the Minister of Finance to sit on your show. But the debate has been going on for a long time. People have been pretending to having a stabilized Naira when a government subsidy was given to importers and people with connection to procure foreign exchange. So the choices are being made and have to be made, whether money from the treasury will be taken each time a businessman wants to buy dollar and import things, we subsidize him or we charge him for the real amount of money that is due. I think that the economists are more competent to talk about this, but the Naira is in the best possible health that it can be, given the circumstances we're in.
I perhaps don't, myself, I'm not an economist. I don't have background in that. But I'm looking, as a journalist, I'm looking at what the average Nigerian, some of those who voted this government in office. When you say the Naira is in the best position, for me and to me, it doesn't look like so from the graphic that we presented to you tonight. $1 to 197 Naira. That is what it was before you took office. But now it is $1 to 410. But there has been criticism on this government about the handling of the economy for those who say that this government lacked the capacity to handle the issue of economy. Look at the inflation rate. 2015, 9%. It's now 18.12%. Unemployment rate, Mr. Shehu, 8.19% in 2015, 33.28% over. I mean, it entered into two digits and it's gone that bad. Look at debt profile, 12 trillion naira. That was the entire debt profile in 2015. It's gone to 32.92 trillion. Exchange rate, foreign reserves, it's better in foreign reserve. GDP growth rate, 2.79% in 2015. It's minus 9.2% in 2020. And in the fourth quarter of this year is 0.51. How do you explain this to an average person or even the expert who will say this government lacks the capacity to handle the economy?
Well, if you ask me this question, I will tell you that whoever questions the capacity of the government to manage the economy probably also need to have themselves re-examined. Because look at all of the things that have happened with the COVID over the last year and more. And can you see that on the entire African continent, this is the only country that is recording positive growth in its economy? So what are we talking about? That everyone has gone under. In fact, globally, remove China, how many countries are growing their economies? And our people are working day and night and ensuring that we don't go under. We don't go down as other countries have done. And who is not borrowing these days? Is it UK? Is it US? All of them are borrowing at record levels. Why do they need to borrow at record levels? Because they need to spend money so that the COVID economy will be revived. Unless you spend money, you hire more people, you put money in their pockets, and they spend it, and then the manufacturer sells their goods, and then they produce more. You can't get anywhere with the economy. But for God's sake, send me these numbers. Talk to the experts. As far as I know, is that this government has the best team that anybody can have on the continent, because the facts are there speaking for the administration.
Well, we put the facts out there and you can see, but since you say you're not the expert in that area, let's close the conversation tonight on this note. And I would have loved to ask you about the issue of true federalism, when the president said in 2019 that true federalism is the way to go. But for those who are saying that we've not seen the government move in that direction. But let me get your 30 seconds reaction to this matter before we allow you go, Mr. Shehu. When President Buhari makes appointment, the issue of neglect of consideration of a national spread of federal character is always raised, part of which many say is responsible for the agitation we see across the land. How difficult is it for the president? Is it difficult to ask anyways, to consider people from other part of the country other than the section where some claim he always considers in most of his appointments?
Let me tell you, this is an old story. Was Obasanjo not accused of this? Then they accuse the late Yar'Adua and Mr. Jonathan. Look, Nigerians will accuse every government that comes into place of nepotism. In fact, so long as they are not appointed themselves as individuals, they will cry ethnicity and religion. So this is nothing. The president is conscious of his responsibility to the Constitution and to the entire nation. And the numbers, when they are published in full, some of the critics will be embarrassed, because their states are the biggest beneficiaries of the appointments that the president has made. You said something about true federalism. We are on the way. Constitution amendments going on. National Assembly is giving leadership on the matter. We will get there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Garba Shehu, the Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Publicity. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Let's switch gears now and go to Abia State in southeast Nigeria. Yet another attack on a police formation in the state, where we understand that 2 police officers have been killed. At least 5 of the gunmen who raised the Abia State Police Criminal Investigation Department at Umuagu in Umuahia, the state capital, have been killed by the police. According to the police, the hoodlums were killed during a gun duel with men and officers of the command. The gunmen who attacked the facility of State Police CID also relieved some of the inmates, destroying over 10 vehicles with more than 20 motorcycles burnt. The police say some of the vehicles used by the hoodlums in the attack have now been recovered. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Immigration Service state headquarters at Ubakala has been burned down by gunmen also in Abia State. We have the governor of Abia State who joins us from Abakaliki, Governor Okezie Ikpeazu. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm joining you from Umuahia.
Oh, you are in Umuahia now. The last time I checked, I understand that you were in Abakaliki. Thank God that you are now in Umuahia. Thank you so much for joining us. Yet another attack on the police formation. What more can you tell us on this attack and what happened to the police CID office in Umuagu to what has now become perhaps a usual incident attacking police formation in the Southeast region?
Oh, well, it's unfortunate that we have come to this point. We seem to be under attack from people who think that they can frighten the police and make people to be afraid and withdraw from their civic responsibilities and duties on a daily basis. I think the second objective may be to pounce on arms and gather arms and ammunition for reasons best known to them. So for these two reasons, we have had these attacks severally. I want to say that the time they attacked the police station at Oban, it was an abandoned location and there were no casualties. They just destroyed the building. That of Obakala, oh yes, they were able to kill some police officers, and but the armory was intact. They could not get the arms they were looking for. I think they just collected the arm of the policemen that they shot while on duty. So the incident of yesterday was also one of those, and we had predicted that that could happen, and we have been on the watch out since the past 2-3 weeks now. You recall that we declared a curfew when they broke the jail at Owerri. We knew that we were going to have 1,800 criminals within the Southeast region, and that's a handsome number. So Abia has been relatively quiet until yesterday, which was quite serious. But I was also meant to understand that there were casualties on both sides. 2 police officers were gunned down, and the police is also claiming that about 8 of those individuals were also gunned down in the incident.
All right.
I want to say that we'll continue to work hard to make sure that we safeguard our people here. It's unfortunate, but that is the scenario now.
Okay, so let's take a breather. But when we come back, we take a deeper look into what is happening in the Southeast region. Is our region on the edge? What is the way out? Our conversation with the governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, continues after now. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us right here. Our conversation with the governor of Abia State, Okezie Ikpeazu, who joins us from Umuahia in Abia State, we continue now with some of the sad scenario that we're seeing, Governor Ikpeazu, where about 200 students of an Islamia school in Rafi local government area of Niger State are being abducted. This is yet another very sad situation of young Nigerian students who are learning and studying are being kidnapped. What do you have to say to this kind of scenario that we see in schools where students cannot even study with their two eyes closed? I mean, we sleep in their beds, in their hostels with their two eyes closed and study with their eyes wide open.
Well, I think it's a very dangerous trend for us in this country, and we should take it very, very seriously. It is the major responsibility of government to protect life and property, but it is more so for the life of children. Again, if you look at it from the dimension of the fact that part of what has precipitated the problem of insecurity is education. We need to educate our people more. And now they are attacking the institutions that enable us to educate our children. And if our children develop apathy for education and the classroom environment is no longer safe, then we can't educate them. And if we can't educate them, it's a vicious cycle because they can be productive and useful to society. So it's a very, very dangerous trend. And I wish we could just do a little more to make sure that our schools are safe and we can give confidence to our children to be in class. Otherwise, once it gets into our children that the classroom is no longer safe, then we will be in a very dangerous place, not only today, but in future.
If you go back to the Southeast region, for example, could the situation in the Southeast be described as terrorism?
Oh, well, I don't think it is far from it because any situation that tends to attack institutions of civil authority, the courts, INEC, police formations, military locations, is designed to undermine state. And so that is what it is. But everything, all hands are on deck to deploy every resource within our that's available to us. Talking about the governors of the Southeast to ensure that we protect our people and enable them to go about their businesses without let.
What is happening with the Ebubeagụ? Because one we wonder if it has capabilities of helping to quell some of these insecurity situations in that region.
Oh, yes. The governors of the Southeast are ruling out Ebubeagụ state by state as the need arises from one state to the other. For us in Abia State, we have the Abia State Vigilance Service. We have the Homeland Security, which is a population of 500 youths involved in Homeland Security. There's a Ministry of Homeland Security. And then Ebubeagụ is supposed to be the community and ward arm of our self-effort towards security in our state. And we think that Ebubeagụ should be involved in intelligence gathering, because our primary concern used to be the criminal headers who that has taken over the forests in some areas in our state. And we desire to flush them out, but in doing so, we must gather actionable intelligence on their movement and their tracks. So we are deploying hunters, palm wine tappers, and all those who do business in the forest also, to give us updates on what's happening and tell signs of human presence so that we can track and flush out these investments. So we just rose from a security summit yesterday, on Friday, and that security summit was populated by retired military and paramilitary officers of Abia State origin, and they just gave me a document as Friday evening, which we are studying, and in the coming days we will roll out our own edition or version of Ebubeagụ and how it will fit into the already existing security architecture to make Abia the safest state in this area.
I understand that there is still curfew in some parts of Abia State. When are you hoping to lift the curfew?
We are looking at the curfew and we will do the needful as the need arises. We think security is still fragile and we are monitoring the situation. But as soon as the sky is safe enough, we will lift it.
I mean, there's been tension, at least in the last few days, around a few states in the Southeast region, including Abia State, based on the sit-at-home order by IPOB as a governor of the Southeast region. IPOB declared a sit-at-home order. Is that in any way unsettling for you?
No, that is not unsettling. They are just they are ventilating their fundamental human rights to say what they want to say, freedom of speech, as you would like to say. But nobody here is under obligation to do otherwise. Anybody who wants to go about his business should go, but government is not reacting to it either way.
But I mean, the big question is when non-state actors are giving orders, a group that has been prescribed by the government is asking people to sit at home. And it does look like that people are obeying that kind of order. You are a constituted authority in your own state. When people obey this kind of order, and that's the reason why I'm asking if it unsettles you, what are you doing about such a situation?
It's not unsettling me at all because in the first place, what is the beginning? What is the genesis of the agitation in the Southeast? Some people in the Southeast feel unprotected the way things are going. And they also feel that some criminal headers that has found their way into our forests were not adequately sanctioned according to the rule book of Nigeria. And they decided to, and that created a gap. It is this gap that non-state actors are trying to fill, wrongly though. But you also notice that there is a perception problem here. A lot of people feel that something needs to happen about protecting farmlands, protecting the people in the forest, protecting the women in the farms and all of that. And if the security architecture, the way it's constituted now, has failed to do that or address that adequately, people will begin to seek help from all kinds of things. It may be wrong, it may be right, but we are saying that they should give government time to do the needful. And that is why we are coming up with the contraption of a Bubago and other security devices we have put in place to address that issue. But that being the case, you now notice also that some people have become sympathetic with that narrative of, yes, we can help, there's something we can do. And that is where we are today. But we are saying we don't have to resort to self-help. We can collectively give you security under the dictates and the letters of the Constitution. And we don't want anybody to do something that is outside the Constitution. So you cannot legislate against what people will say. Neither can you legislate against what people will do. If some people decide not to go to market today, that is Sunday, that is their business. Government cannot come and say you must go to market. But government business is running. I have appointments which I will keep. And those working with me will also do the needful. But if we don't see anybody in his shop, there is no law against such an individual in Abia. But I know that a lot of people will go about their businesses as usual. But you don't take away the fact that some people may also, for two reasons, either they are afraid of being harassed or being shot, or they just don't want to open their shops. So that's the situation.
But so let me ask you, as a politician now, on one hand, you're a leader in your state, the number one citizen, and also a politician. And I've spoken with a lot of politicians in the Southeast region, and the body language towards this IPOB phenomenon is quite interesting. Perhaps the way and manner people outside of Southeast perceive IPOB and the phenomenon, what it stands for in the region. The federal government had prescribed them, But for you as a politician, is it a difficult phenomenon to handle? Is it a difficult thing to quell or to keep under wraps?
No, it's not a difficult thing to quell, but I think that a good place to start is to listen to the crux of the agitation. Because what some of the things that they have mentioned, and I've had them say, border around what is agitating the mind of the ordinary Southeastern. So what is wrong in listening? What is wrong in discussing the issue? If they say we want somebody in the Security Council, why can't that happen? Or why shouldn't there be a reason why it's not happening? And all of that. So if they say that there are things bordering around injustice, inequality, lack of respect for the federal character, letters of the Constitution, and all of that, I think that the conversation should begin to happen along these lines, and people should listen and see how that goes, before going kinetic about it. So, and for whatever reason, if you want to win an asymmetric battle such as we are faced in this country, you must create the groundswell that you need. You need to do social mobilization so that people and government must be on the same page. But if the people see government as not sensitive to their feelings and their yearnings, it will be difficult to mobilize the people in a certain direction. And I think that is what is critical and is missing now.
So when you say that they need to be listened to, who are you making reference to? You're talking about the federal government?
Oh, yes. Everybody. If they have issues with my state government or the way I run government here, and they are agitating against it, I will listen to what they're saying. And the ones I can't do, I'll tell them I can't do it and tell them why I will not be able to do that.
Have you sat with them? Have you sat with them to listen to them recently?
Oh, no, but I make my opinion on all the issues they have raised known. And the ones that are impossible to do, I have. For instance, I don't believe in Biafra through the barrels of the gun, because I saw a little bit of the Civil War, and I don't want that kind of thing, and I don't see the prospects of that venture, and I don't want anything that will be suicidal. But I think that creating a society where everybody has a right to speak, and there is inclusion and participation, and is the kind of mindset I want. If Biafra is for agitation against injustice in any way, that there is Biafra in the heart of many Nigerians today. I just read an article. Somebody posted that sometime in Aba, Margaret Epo was a councillor here, and and we have had somebody from Kano being the mayor of Enugu. What has happened to this country actually, and why are we not taking steps to build bridges? Rather, we're emphasizing things that divide us: ethnicity, religion, all those things that divide us, rather than things that bring us together. And even the comments you get to hear going forward makes it difficult for people to appreciate the fact that we are one country under one God.
How easy will it be if you're asking for a dialogue between IPOB and the federal government? The federal government had declared them, prescribed them. So who will organize this? And we're looking at some of the unrest and the agitations. When will this end? How will that dialogue happen if that is what you are advising?
Well, so as far as I'm concerned, as far as we are concerned in Abia, there is nothing like IPOB, but we have ESN, and we also hear what the agitations that whatever that is agitating the mind of people. Because you go to the grassroots as a governor and you ask questions. What is the problem? And some of these things are germane. So if it is the remit of the federal government to set up structures to engage Nigerians from all walks of life and hold discussions and conversations, I think that is the way it is done all over the world. If you can prescribe an individual, you can prescribe a group, you can prescribe an organization, but it is difficult to prescribe an ideology.
So let's move away from that. At least 12 INEC offices have been attacked in the southeast state in the past few months. What do you suppose could be responsible for those kind of attacks on an organization or institution that will organize election? There will be election in November in Anambra State, for example.
I said it earlier that what I make out of some of the attacks in the southeast as we see them now can just be the plank is resting on 2 or 3 planks. The first one is to instill fear, to harass and instill fear on across the land. The other one is to collect arms and put all of them together. It is defined by the fact that people are attacking institutions of civil authority. And INEC is one of them. INEC is one of them. The police, the military, the courts, these are institutions of civil authority. And anybody who does that is an enemy of the nation.
Governor, let's for 1 or 2 minutes talk about what we have done for the people of Abia State in the last 6 years. Anybody who have been to Abia State or who hasn't even been to Abia State, Aba, for example, will come to mind. And is a major business hub, not only in Abia State or the Southeast or even in Nigeria, but on the African continent. But experts have come out to say one of the major problems is lack of proper corporate governance, lack of partnerships, poor infrastructure, multiple taxation, and accusing fingers have come to your desk to say you have not really done perhaps enough, according to those who are criticizing, for Aba to live up to the expectation or the capacity that it could or potential that it has.
Oh, well, they are entitled to their opinion, but I don't think they are right because some of them are largely ignorant. Some of them have not been to Aba for quite some time, and they don't even understand the economy of Aba, or not even the geography. They don't even understand that, but they don't know the problems. I'll give you an example. In 2015, when we came on board, there was you can't access Aba from anywhere. You can't get to Aba from Umuahia. You can't get to Aba from you can't get to Aba from Ikotaba. You can't get to Aba from Port Harcourt. You can't get to Aba from Owerri. And when you can't access Aba, that the people that the traffic within and out of Aba is the oxygen that drives the trade, the commerce in the enterprise in Aba. So we started to tackle the problems from first principle. How do we create access for people from Akwa Ibom to come into Aba? So we had to do a road all the way from Akwa Ibom to Ekperaz to Uruluka and then to Aba. And then when you get to Aba, how do you get into the biggest market in Aba area? For 30 years, it was impossible to access area from any flank, whether you're coming from Port Harcourt or you're coming from Brass. You had to, at some point, stop and people will back you or you find a way, and otherwise the water, there was a big pond at both ends there and you can't go. Some people even alluded to the presence of spirits in those areas. So we had to get Cetraco to do the needful on Fox Road. And today, for the first time, you can access area market from 2 flanks, from Port Harcourt or from Brass. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And people who have been to, when I came to Aba, there was no single street light standing in the name of government. But we have planted over 3,000 street lights in that city today. And anybody who says that Aba is not working, today in Aba you have Domino's, you have Chicken Republic, you have Marketplace, you have everything in Aba. You even have a cinema in Aba. So you cannot see Aba unless you bend down. For those who are just alluding to what do they do. And I want to talk about the big one. You know that Aba has been renowned by the World Bank as a place where people are doing shoes and garments. Over 250,000 people. If you give them 4 apprentices each, that's 1 million young people. And by the time I came in 2015, they were still using their bare hands to cut leather. But I have sent them to China, I've sent some to Turkey, and they have all come back. And I followed up with the establishment of the first automated shoe factory in Aba today that has produced shoes for Nigerian Railways, and we are working on producing shoes for Nigerian military and Nigerian police. The shoes we are producing in Aba today are fit for the Walmart. And we are hoping that someday we will sell to Walmart. You know, and we are doing the same thing. We're establishing our garment factory also in Aba, so that we can be the Bangladesh of this sub-region. You know, and then you can't ignore all of this. Golden Guinea is back at Umuahia working, courtesy of a private sector individual. We are working hard on Ejimbe economics, closing the gap between Aba and Port Harcourt. You know, so talk is cheap. If you come down, you will see that we have done we have done something that
because usually the problem has been some of the things that we have followed. The road in Arara leading to Arara market in and out, when there is rain, it's always a major problem because of flooding and all of that. These are some of the issues that are being raised. And you also said that you are doing 500 kilometers of road, about 20 kilometers per local government area. These are some of the things that you said you are doing. And I understand that you said you are going to shoemaking or something like that when you leave office. Yeah. But we are out of time. But let's close the program and let me ask you a political question. Your friend, the governor of Cross River State, defected from the PDP to the APC. And we are hearing that you are being spoken to also to join the APC. When are you making that move?
In the first place, whenever there is rain, you will see water on the road, but give it 30 minutes. That is how it is all over the world. So there is no issue of flooding. Having said that, I am somebody who is driven by what my people want. I think my people are comfortable where I am in the PDP now. And because they are comfortable here, I don't intend to abandon them here and go away. I think that political expedition is not about my personal choice or what I want to do. I am in politics in the first place to serve the people, and I am here at the behest of the people. If our people are comfortable in PDP, I will remain in PDP. If they are no longer comfortable in PDP, they will inform me. But until then, I'm in PDP, and I don't think the prospects are there that I join APC in the foreseeable.
What about those who have come to meet you and ask you to go to the APC? You are ignoring that plea or that consultation?
I'm only asking them to give me reasons why I should.
Okay, because now you said that if your people are asking you, if, for example, I mean, this is some kind of, it's a maybe, if hypothetically speaking, I know that you've told me on this program that you want the presidency in 2023 to come to the Southeast. What if the PDP is not doing that? If the APC is doing that, would you still consider staying in the PDP or going to the APC?
Until that happens.
But you want to go to a party that zones presidency to the Southeast in 2023? Is that your thinking?
I don't see myself positioning myself against an Igbo candidate in 2023 if I see one.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Okezie Ikpeazu, the Executive Governor of Abia State. Thank you so much for talking to us right here on the program.
Thank you for having me.
That's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.